entered.
Oh, there you go.
Hey, everybody. Welcome to 12 Cent Treehouse, issue number 2, with Steve Jones just joining us for the first time. Hi, Steve.
Hey, Steve.
How swimming didn't happen in New Zealand?
It didn't. All right, I'm not hearing you in my headphones, and I would like to change that. So let me use the magic of the settings.
So while we're here and we're live, live now, stream on Twitch, YouTube, and Facebook,
live and alive.
Yeah,
here we go.
Let's talk about who we are. I'm Shaun McLaughlin. I was a writer-producer at Warner Animation for years, and someone doesn't have headphones on.
Steve, you need your headphones.
I do have them on, and I can hear you guys.
I'm getting a reverb in here.
Is it better if I'm not in my headphones?
Let's see. Can we get a reverb now? Nope.
Anything from me?
Nope.
Steve, adjust your settings and make sure your sound's going through your headphones.
It should be.
So anyway, I'm Shaun McLaughlin. I was a writer-producer at Warner's for a long time. Freelance. I'm a script analyst now for several companies that you've heard of, and also I freelance script analysis, and I also work on my own stuff. So that's me. Surly Scott, who are you?
I am Scott Kollins. I am a 30-plus year veteran of comic books. I've done a little bit outside of that for Lucasfilm and some other companies, but latest project was Patra for Dark Horse Comics with James Robinson as the writer. It was a fun horror book that we did this last year, and we're hoping to do some more.
Cool.
And I am Jeff Johnson. I've been drawing comics for as long as Scott, which is way back in the 90s. There's a show that I worked on at the comic currently on Disney Plus called Wonder Man, which sadly I've not been able to see yet. And I am working on a book of my own at the moment with my friend and writer James Robinson called Rogue's Kingdom, which we are kickstartering and getting out one issue at a time and for as long as we can. And tonight I'm going to be designing a character for one of Shaun and our projects that we're trying to figure out how to pitch. And I think that's going to be kind of the focus for not just this episode, but sort of the show. Is we're as professionals, we're going to do our work and hang out and chit chat almost like a real studio.
Yep.
And, yeah. So tonight will be character design.
And I'm going to get a separate camera. I told Scott earlier I'm going to get a separate camera just to focus on the keyboard so people can watch me type. It'll be really exciting.
Can you touch type?
Internet.
Can you?
I can.
For all the fingers?
All fingers. All fingers.
That's magic.
Use all 10?
All 10. Yeah. If I lost a finger, my career, such as it is, would be over.
Oh, that'd be really troublesome.
Yeah. Steve
right, Jones. Yeah.
You weren't here for the first one for actually excellent reasons, but we all love you and we're glad you're here. So introduce yourself.
Thanks, guys. My name is Stephen B. Jones, and I am a cartoonist. I first met Jeff in high school, where Jeff and I created our own comic book strip that we sold to our local paper, and ever since then we've stupidly have thought we should keep drawing cartoons for a living. I first met Shaun when Jeff was first starting to work in comics, and he was drawing Wonder Man for Marvel, and I graduated from college and very much needed a job, and Jeff needed some help meeting deadlines, so Jeff made me his assistant / trainee, and I started drawing backgrounds for him on Wonder Man, and then Jeff and I became friends with another Bay Area, California artist named Ken Hooper, who was drawing a book called Aquaman for DC that our friend Shaun here was writing. And so then I started drawing backgrounds for both Jeff and Shaun until I was able to scrabble together some comic book samples of my own. And then I worked at Marvel and DC for about 5 or 6 years. during that time, Shaun transitioned out of comics into animation, and I ended up doing the same at the end of the 90s. And my first job was at Sony at animation. My second job was working with and for Shaun on Batman, the animated series, New Adventures, Superman, and I think on the Friday of the week of my first week in office, we had a secret meeting announcing that we were starting on Batman Beyond. And after that meeting, I think I was the only guy who didn't go back to his phone in his office and then call someone to tell them that we were now starting to work on Batman Beyond, because I was so terrified that I might be replaced. I took the warnings about it being a secret very seriously.
As well, you should.
Yeah, but I get that now.
You know what?
There was only one drawing. That was it. That was it.
That's entirely true. You're right. There was one. Yeah, you're right. There was one drawing, and that it was the design. It didn't deviate actually from that drawing.
Did Bruce do the original design for that?
Yeah, of course.
Yeah.
And then
there'd been so the network had come. I'm sorry, Steve. Let me just tell the story quickly. The network had said they wanted a young Batman story. They wanted Batman, but they wanted it different. So they had suggested an idea of Bruce Wayne traveling around the world and learning how to be Batman. And Alan Burnett, the lead producer, writer, story editor, said, "So you want me to make a Batman show without any Batman in it?" Which we all thought made a lot of sense until Gotham came out, so we were all jerks. But then Batman Beyond came out of those meetings, and we were lucky to have Steve there.
Well, I appreciate that very much, my friend. They were lucky to have you running all that insanity, but my understanding later too, as I found out, wasn't it that at that moment, like Buffy was like the hot thing, and so Buffy the Vampire Slayer, and so wasn't there some kind of like, this Batman's so old and grumpy, we want something that skews younger, we want to chase that Buffy crowd. And that became even more significant as time went on. I think that Max's character was supposed to be sort of a Willow to those of you that follow Buffy, but I now I just remembered that first Terry McGinnis drawing. I mean, this shows how crazy long ago this all was. Is that Titanic was like the movie that winter where we started. And so I think, Terry McGinnis was something of like a Bruce somewhat interpreting young, Leo in Titanic and turning him into a Bruce drawing to some degree.
Yeah,
but
kind of. It was a more Peter Parker-ish, I think.
Sure.
Yeah.
But anyway, that's my first.
The hair was kind of Leo.
I think there's some Leo in there, but
yeah. No. I think visually you're dead on. I think especially with the hair.
And then 20-something-ish years later, I think the last animation job I did now was something called Kindergarten the Musical for Disney Junior in 2023. And then as I don't know if these guys talked about last week, but the animation and entertainment industry is in a sort of historic level of, let's be as political as possible, level of transition at the moment.
And we call it a historic level of clusterfucking.
Exactly. But so subsequently my last animation job was in 2023. And like many folks that I have known, Shaun got out of the industry, I don't know, 15 years ago. Jeff got out about 10 years ago. And
I did some work on my last thing. I did some work on the Watchmen adaptation.
Well, that's actually all right. So so Jeff left town. Jeff left LA 10 years ago, but he actually has done a decent amount of freelance, because I forgot, or remote work. Before remote work was cool, Jeff was doing it. Like like Jeff worked on a whole season of Transformers: Robots in Disguise remotely. So
that was a really fun show.
I left Warner's to do an independent picture called Gene Fusion, and we thought that was going to go to series, and it didn't. So I transitioned into teaching while I kept pitching stuff and do. I mean, I wrote a whole bunch of stuff. I wrote 2 Speed Racer reboot films that never happened. Got some paychecks for them, and stuff like that. So we call it 12-cent Treehouse because, as you can tell, most of us are have been around a bit, and most of us remember when comics were 12 or 15 cents each. So that's why we call it. And it was Steve's idea, and it was brilliant.
Yeah.
So we start off every week by
if you like it, it was my idea. If you hate it, it was Scott's idea.
So we start off every week talking about what we're working on now. I am still waiting for notes on the rom-com I wrote and sent in to my literary manager, Gravity Squared. Hi, Kevin. Hi, John. And also working on some pitches with Jeff, one of which we're probably going to talk about tonight. And doing script coverage for people. I actually read a good script this week, so I'm really happy about that.
That's great. So, as a quick little side note, you read a ton of scripts, right? How many do you think you read a week?
Anywhere between 6 and 12 a week.
And so, since one of the things that we all have, one of the reasons you and I are trying to put pitches together, apart from hoping to create an empire at some point, like I want to get. You have an idea and you have characters in your head and you have story ideas and plots, so you want to get them down on paper. Otherwise, it forms kind of a jumble in your head.
Right. Right.
And so one of the things you and I have been talking about a lot lately is like what makes a good pitch, what makes a good story, what makes a good comic or show. So in the scripts that you read, what would you say is the number one thing that leaps out at you that makes it a good script?
Well-defined characters with well-defined goals.
Mm.
Mm.
They're not just people who are. I'll tell you the thing I see the most, and that is every week I talk about a trope that I don't want to see anymore, so I'll throw that in early because I read a couple of them this week. I never want to see another fucking Navy SEAL in a script as long as I live.
Right.
Dude,
I was asked to do some a comic adaptation of a screenplay a long time ago. And at one point there are all these badass Delta Navy SEAL guys in it, and they get lied to and they get tricked into an operation that they didn't want to do. And when they find out that their CEO, or not CEO, but the commanding officer, the one who tricked them and lied to them and got them involved in this thing they didn't want to get involved in. At one point, one of the Delta guys starts to cry, and I call the writer, and I'm like, I'm not drawing, like he's crying because his emotions are hurt. I'm like, that's not. I know enough guys who are in special forces that if I did that, they would kick the shit out of me. So I'm not drawing that.
Yeah,
well, they're human. I'm like, no, they're not. They're not.
I guess
they're not normal humans.
I guess to your point, Shaun, too, it's kind of like the thing of, it's like if there were as many actual Navy SEALs in the armed services as have appeared on screen, like the entire Army, or sorry, in this case, Navy, would be Navy SEALs. In the same way that, like, if TV were to believe, there's at this point on screen, there have been thousands of serial killers, like far more than there's ever been in real life.
There wouldn't be any people left.
One of my favorite cozy mystery shows to watch is Midsummer
Made of
Murders.
overfarmed. What is it, Jeff?
Midsummer Murders, and it's been on for 20 years, and it's a cozy little quaint English town, and yet there is a death every week.
It's like the deadliest,
the most dangerous quaint town in the history of the world.
It's the most dangerous village in the Cotswolds.
There's one of those Michael Sheen, David Tennant things that they started doing during the lockdown.
So good.
They're
scripted.
Where Michael Sheen asks David Tennant's making fun of Michael Sheen for playing another real life person. for the BBC, and Sheen turns to me and goes, "So, solving any murders in quaint small Scottish towns now? You would think that when you walked in, everyone would just leave at this point."
Exactly.
It's like I don't know who lives in Gotham anymore, since Gotham is like completely terrorized from top to bottom, left, right. Every section of the town is like taken over or gassed every other week.
Right.
Yeah. Yeah. Who would want to live in Metropolis? I mean, there's shit falling on you constantly.
Yeah. Gotham is a very dangerous place.
Gotham is essentially a failed state at this point.
Yeah. Indeed.
So Steve, what are you working on?
I'm working on a couple different creator-owned comic books right now. One of which I was doing for a certain publisher, and I've had to now kind of move forward under my own steam on that for the moment. And then another one I'm working on has some independent publishing, both of them with friends of mine. Yeah, so I'm and one of them is more of a sci-fi adventure thriller, and the other one has probably got more in common with a comic like Understanding Comics or something. It's definitely it's not very genre-ish. It's more like
A
working on
deep
a
thinking
documentary
project.
Yeah.
Exactly. For those of us who like to think deeply. It's not usually me, but
Who said that?
Yeah. Scott, you're working on you finished Patra, and now you've done some DC stuff recently, and now you're working on your own more of your own like pitch stuff, right?
Yeah, balancing a bunch of pitch projects right now, like Patra and some other ones. And then, I finished up a DC short story a little while ago, and a Dark Horse story. The DC story has been published in a JSA Christmas special that they had released. I'm not sure exactly when the Dark Horse one will be released, but I think it's supposed to be this spring.
Cool.
So what's that like after working on your own stuff, going back to working for one of the big two?
If the rest of the team is cool and the script is fine and everything, then it's actually kind of a nice relax a little bit on some of those things, because I know a lot of the big decisions are all being handled, and I don't have to think about them myself or have those conversations enough times with the writers and stuff. I can get very obsessive about all the details and every single page and everything going on. So, when we're working on Patra or something like that, I'll be having these endless conversations with James Robinson or whichever writer I'm working on at the time. So when it's a creator-owned project, it's much more involved with everything. Plus, usually on a creator-owned book nowadays, for me, I'm drawing, coloring, and I'm in on the plotting sessions and all that kind of stuff too. So I'm, all in on those. So it becomes, I don't know, 5 times more work or different things going on. Versus a job for DC or Marvel, which, there's still good work, and it can be intensive to make sure I'm doing the job right and everything. But so many of the decisions are already handled. The editor already decided that the script is done and ready. Even if I have a question, I go to the editor. The editor handles it, fairly kind of in a neutral manner, or the quickest way possible, kind of a thing. And we just get it done, kind of a deal. And we're all pros at that point. There's another colorist they hired. It might be someone that I've suggested to them, but it's being part of the team more off. Whereas on the creator-owned books, it's much more like me and maybe 1 or 2 other people at the most.
Is it one harder than the other, do you think? Or they just have different things to deal with? And by the way, that Ben Grimm is awesome.
Thank you.
Those
I think the creator-owned books are harder, but for my money and everything, and especially this point in my career or whatnot, they're much more rewarding. Even if it's not monetarily, even if it didn't sell, gangbusters or anything like that, if it just sold okay. Most of them, I just want them, if they can sell good enough to keep going in this marketplace right now that's so difficult, that's a win for me.
Yep. Makes perfect sense.
An interesting thing, I feel like, sort of thing about the opposite of what Scott's talking about, like all of my comic experience in the 90s is working for Marvel or DC or Image, and and then, animation is just one big work for hire enterprise if you're working in America. And so it's interesting now transitioning to create your own stuff where like, oh, what do you mean the writer has opinions on every page, or something like that, where when you're doing, like work for hire stuff like Scott just mentioned at DC or Marvel or whatever, it's like usually you're so up against the wall deadline wise that there's just kind of this thought that, everyone's like, okay, well, you might never even, luckily I think Jeff and I got in the habit of talking to, when we worked with Shaun a million years ago, when he was a writer, like we actually talked to him a fair amount, and Jeff spoke to some of his other writers that he collaborated with, but I also got the impression that was almost kind of rare, that sometimes like the writer just sent you your script and then your job was just to get it done for the editor as quickly as possible. You might not talk to your inker, you might not talk to everyone else in the team,
There was an editor who shall remain nameless who told me that I was getting too close to the artist and that it felt like we were teaming up against them.
Oh,
right.
Geez, Louise.
I mean, it was true, but
yeah. I do think that a good relationship, especially depending on what you're trying to accomplish, a good back and forth relationship with your writer can be super, super helpful. If you're both on the same sheet of music. When Scott and I did that Navy gig a few years ago, one of the things that made it very, very frustrating is it did not have clearly defined characters or clearly defined goals. Like you mentioned, Shaun, like that was one of the things that we really struggled with, especially while trying to design the characters. I'm like, well, who is this guy? He has to not just be a clothespin giving lines. He has, when I see him, I have to know what he's feeling, what he's thinking, where he's been, who he is, all that stuff. And they could not get their heads around having to make a decision like that, like having to cast the characters.
And it wasn't even just Jeff or what little bit that I got in any of those discussions that was telling him this information. Before we got involved with the project, there were other professional comic book writers that we know of that were specifically involved in the early process of this. And they walked away from it without even like getting into the project because they looked at it and went, oh no, this is a mess.
Yeah.
And we were hopeful that we could like turn it into something.
At this moment, actual Navy SEALs suddenly burst into both Scott and Jeff's apartment and slaughtered them both.
Well, I mean,
I've learned that projects where you start thinking, oh, I can, this will work out okay. This is something I can fix.
Right.
You don't. I was supposed to produce an animated film.
You can change him, Shaun. Is that what Shaun? I can change him.
I get that's exactly what it's like. It's like being in one of those relationships where it's like, oh, I know if I just work hard enough, I can change her.
Right.
I was supposed to do a very, very high profile animated project, which was going to unite. This is after I left Warner. It's going to unite an American studio and a Japanese studio, and we had Studio IG on board. They did Ghost, and it was a character that everybody knows, and it had set the whole deal up. Went to talk story with the very famous person who owned the character, and realized that she had no fucking idea what she was talking about. She didn't understand character. She didn't understand motivation. And not only did she not want me to write it, but she wanted her nephew to write it. And I was like, I don't care how big the check is.
Right.
What this is going to do to my mental state is not going to be good.
Oh, it cost me.
Have a nice day.
Yeah, it definitely messed with me, because just having to go with not being able to have a clear path forward, before you can start drawing something, you have to be able to see it, and not being able to see it is like walking around in a dark room. It's just it's very anxiety inducing.
Yep. Now, is there a point where the writer can get too involved, do you think?
Yes. Well,
yes.
I think
Steve's just sitting around.
Yes. Well, if the writing isn't, I have found the only time that a writer really gets too involved is when the writing is not clear, when they have not done their job. And so if it's not clear on the paper when they write it, it won't be clear on the paper when I draw it, and for them. And so once again, the Navy thing is like they would write something. The process was they would write their gobbledygook. I would then write a translation of that into a drawing script. These are the moments I think you're asking for. And then we would try and write a finished script from that, to stay within the number of panels, or just a certain concept of how many panels there should be on a page. And then inevitably they would see the page and then have notes. I'm like, the time for notes was when we were writing it. Like now I've drawn it.
Yep.
Well,
Yep.
you would even show them a lot of times the roughs of the page. You would break down some of the pages for them and go like, okay, now this is the time for notes, because after this, because Jeff was handling that story side and the penciling side and everything else, and then he handed it over to me to ink and to color.
Yeah.
And then they kept coming back later on during the ink and color phase. And it wasn't that the colors were wrong. It was like, oh no, but maybe this panel would be better if you did it this way. We're like, no, not now.
I mean, I guess
Now's not the time.
If that project was hourly, then maybe it would have been okay, because it was kind of like, okay, if you guys want unlimited notes, that's wonderful, and we'll just we'll just stay on the clock for that,
I mean, yes, we did try and do that, and we wound up asking for more money. But even then, even if you are getting paid hourly, the level of frustration and sense of not going anywhere.
Sure.
The amount of money becomes quickly not worth it, almost no matter how much you ask for. Because you're like, I'm just sitting here.
Totally.
Yeah.
Well, and they didn't
frustrated.
actually have that empty or unemptyable checkbook, because there was another person involved that would actually handle the payments for us of what we were doing. And then she would find out what's going on and be like, why are they doing this? And then and then she actually found major things that were wrong with the story that we couldn't even catch, because we didn't have the knowledge or experience about being on these boats and specific rules and regulations that were involved that these guys should have known.
Yeah.
I will tell you that I've been in the Army since '86. I was a reservist for a while, way back in the day. And to be honest, I never understood the rivalry and the disdain between the Navy and the Army. Until I worked on a project with a bunch of Navy guys, and then I got it. I'm like, oh. Now I understand why this hatred goes back 200 years.
I'm feeling like my Navy SEAL joke is less of a joke at this point. I think there really is going to be some naval operators that burst into Scott and Jeff's window.
That's all right.
No, we're defending the common Navy SEAL, man. It's the higher ups that make decisions.
Yeah, I was raised by a Marine Corps veteran of World War II, and he said the Navy were great for getting you where you needed to go.
Yeah. Yeah, I mean, they're great, fantastic transportation.
Yes.
Good old list.
Yeah. So Shaun, the idea that we're putting together, it's called Pest, and the conceit of the thing is that there are dinosaurs living amongst us today, and that we have to control them like animal control, but with dinosaurs. So it can be
dinosaurs never went extinct. They're just a part of all of us who have lived in California have coyotes and mountain lions in our backyard,
right?
All the time, So it's just something like that.
Or Arizona scorpions.
Yeah, they're scary. So we call it Pest.
Bill stands back here.
What's a Bill stand?
Bills fans, Buffalo Bills fans.
Oh, Bills fan. Yeah. I understand. So the main character's name is Nolan.
Or the deadly Piwaka Waka here, but yeah, go on.
Oh, the Piwaka Waka. And he is one of the exterminators who worked for the company that takes care of these. What's it called again?
He's a trapper.
He's a trapper.
He refuses to kill the animals. He's a trapper. He traps them, and then their rival firm. He works for a company called Trapex, and the rival firm is called Exterminix, and they kill the animals.
So that's right there is a great character. Who this guy is not a murderer, right? He believes in protecting the animals and saving them and making sure they have their lives and putting them in the right environment. So that sets him apart already from someone who's willing to just kill them and doesn't care about them.
Right.
And we've already got the dynamic of what the difficulty is. Obviously, it's going to be about saving or not killing these animals that other people might be trying to kill.
Right.
Right.
Um,
Right.
So I was thinking when I first read it, I thought like, oh, his outfit would be kind of like your standard pest control overalls guy, as opposed because he has to crawl into, sewers and houses and in caves and stuff. So I was thinking basically something just overalls.
Yeah. Like
Okay.
a zip up coverall. Yeah.
Yeah, zip up coverall with some boots. Maybe like decent like steel toed in case he has to, kick something or climb or something something steps on his foot like a T-Rex.
Yep.
Something like that.
Steel toe.
Very steel toe. And as a backpack, would he have you would have some stuff. When I did designs for G.I. Joe back in the day, I realized that I was too minimalist on my designs, and so I want to start making sure that I give every character cool shit. So what kind of stuff would he have, like a backpack, or would he have like almost like a Ghostbusters kind of rod to grab stuff that he would have handy?
He's got I always imagined him as having like a belt with stuff on it, and
Okay.
at one point I was told to think about toys for this, so like a little crossbow he can take out and put up that he uses in the first scene.
Right.
Some night vision goggles. I don't mind a backpack. Just can he get
Crossbows
to
are
it?
cool.
Yeah.
Being chased by
Like,
pirates is cool.
Yeah. Yeah, murder by pirates is good. I will definitely. So I'll put the crossbow so where you could just reach back and grab it. Right, that's fun.
And then some
attach
different glasses, and then there's that scene later on. You did that great drawing of a couple of years ago, where he's being carried by the pteranodon, and he's got a huge spray thing, because like how like the Terminex guy comes and he sprays around your house to keep the ants and stuff out. I thought
Right.
they'd spray around the house to keep the dinosaurs away, but it has to be.
Yeah.
But it's huge.
Do you remember that scene? It's not a great movie, but Will Ferrell in Land of the Lost, where he.
Don't tell me it's not a great movie.
I mean, it's there's a lot of laugh out loud moments in it, but one of my favorite
it
ones.
Might not be a work of art, but
remember when he builds the model and he ingests the dinosaur urine, he pours it all over himself. I immediately regret that decision. So something like that. You could spray some urine, so like a canister of urine.
There's a joke later on after the first issue where he talks about the way you really keep dinosaurs away is mammal urine. For some reason, it really scares them. I don't know why. Nobody knows why, but just mammals terrify them.
Love it.
That's cool.
All right. And you were suggesting, I thought this was an interesting choice of someone I never knew, a guy named Jack Carson as sort of the model.
Yeah. He's a 40s actor. So when I first wrote it, I thought about Tim Allen because I was having meetings with him at the time about rewriting a script for him. But he's sort of a kind of more of a 1940s feel character. And Jack Carson's this, if you don't know him, he's the actor from the 40s, 50s, 60s who could just do anything. He could do a musical. He could do a comedy. He could play the lead. He could play a character part. He did everything from playing in a movie called The Good Humor Man, playing an ice cream truck driver who's obsessed with Captain Marvel comic books.
Oh, fun.
And then a couple years later, he's in Cat in a Hot Tin Roof, the movie version. So he can just seamlessly transfer from comedy to high drama. And he's sort of a big football player looking guy.
Right. Yeah, he's he's a little thicker than your standard leading man character.
Yeah,
which I liked. It makes him a little more. It makes him a little more rough and tumble. Like he actually could maybe get knocked over by a T-Rex and be okay.
Yeah.
I like that.
So I never liked the normal like Hollywood leading man types or leading woman types. Actually, I like the character leads a lot more. I mean, when I was a kid, I was obsessed with Humphrey Bogart and
Oh, he's great.
and Jack Carson and right now Paul Giamatti and I'm on a Ray Fiennes kick because that bastard can do anything.
Have you seen Bone Temple, Sean?
No.
It's so good. I saw it with my daughter when I was in LA, and right, like Rafe is so good. What I love is that he's so good at being a baddie that you forget how great he is as a goodie. Like,
Yeah.
And there's almost the equivalent of what I want to call some musical numbers in this movie, The Bone Temple. And it's a scary ass movie, but my daughter and I were laughing so hard. Like, I can't recommend it enough. I really enjoyed that movie, and it's 1000% because of him. He's fantastic.
Yeah, I mean,
Well,
last year he did
not 1000%.
He did Conclave, and he did The Return, playing Odysseus coming back. Like.
Oh, that was great. I mean, yeah, he was great as Odysseus.
Yeah.
Wiry, scary looking, like muscle. Right, it's
ropey.
He's definitely rode all over the sea, all over and in between all those Greek islands for 10 years. You could tell.
Well, and he looks like the guy who's going to pick up that bow and be able to pull it back.
Yeah.
But you stop and go, this is Ray Fiennes. This is the finest.
Which, yeah, you wouldn't think of him first for that.
No.
Yeah.
And he was so. I mean, he's so good at being bad. He was like beautiful young guy in like Strange Days. Like he's got he is a delight.
Yeah.
Very
so
cool.
do you guys like casting like that? Do you like actor types, or do you? Because we're not supposed to use actual likenesses anymore.
Right.
No, but I think that
Paul Gulacy's career would be ugly right now.
Right, unless you're doing the Ultimates and you use Samuel Jackson.
Right.
Well, I mean, we won't, like, we have a friend who did a creator-owned comic where they did kind of do some casting, and in some cases it was like people it would be like doing Jack Carson, where he's long dead, and so unless someone from the family comes out and talks to you about the likeness and you nail it so much, like there was no grief. And then I know there was a character where it was like, basically the company that was publishing it forced Derek to like get the actor to sign off on the likeness, and then I know, another artist doing a creator-owned thing where it was like he was actually friends with the actor, and they were gonna kind of, use the likeness, and then the actor's agents and stuff kind of got involved, and so it ended up just becoming easier to not do that. And having used to act, I can see it very much from both sides. I mean, as an actor, your likeness is who you are, so you kind of don't want someone. On the one hand, it could be tremendously flattering to be cast in as it were, in a comic that you didn't plan on. It's a little bit like, oh, I just got a job that I didn't even audition for, And on the other hand, if
Like
you're not
Samuel
a fan
Jackson on Ultimates.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
That worked out for him.
Yeah,
But
it's not.
The other thing is that what people don't think about is that especially with AI coming now, and the threat of of every actor being Reuben flagged from Howard Chaykin's American Flag, where we've just have enough of you, we can just recreate you using AI right now.
Right.
If that actor lets somebody use their image and doesn't make a stink about it, then later on in a court case, they can go, well, this happened and you didn't say anything about it. So
No, 100%.
Yeah.
But back to your original question, I definitely find it creatively very helpful, like as a shorthand, because, I mean, for one thing, nailing likenesses is an art unto itself. So you could be trying to do a likeness of someone and still not necessarily successfully pull it off at all, but it kind of gets you in a ballpark that works well. Right. And B, you can always just make a few subtle changes that'll. So I think I personally find, like with writers or producers or something, that it can be a very helpful shorthand. But I know some people that feel the opposite, but but I always got a kick out of it where it's like, well, who, like sometimes if you're just stuck on something like, well, who would play this person,
That's the thing is, I think it's just one of the tools you could use to get a grasp on this character or the genre or whatever that you're playing in. That you may not pick that actor, when you're all said and done with it, but as a starting point, going like, is this guy more like an Arnold Schwarzenegger, or is he more of a Ray Fiennes, or where are we going here? What's the basic building blocks we have for doing this thing? And then you may find up with some sort of amalgamation or complete your own different character when you're done. But it's at least,
Totally.
yeah, it's a tool to start with.
Yeah, when I'm writing, if I hear somebody's voice, that often helps the scene and helps me refill the character. Like the rom-com I finished, everybody in that script is based on someone I know, and I hear their voice, and that helps propel the script forward. I mean, going back to what we were talking about with characters and well-defined, one of the things I remember learning in college about writing that stayed with me was F. Scott Fitzgerald said, character leads to action, which leads to plot. The character's there, the character wants something, the character goes after that something, does an action, and that's how the plot starts to build. It only works if the characters want something. That's why, Hitchcock and the MacGuffin is so misunderstood, because the MacGuffin really doesn't matter to the story. The MacGuffin could be anything.
Right.
And I think it's Notorious where they're looking for microfilm and they never mention what's on the microfilm. But it's just, we need to get the microfilm, and it's just to get it in action and get the people working with each other.
Right.
Yep.
Or Janet Leigh's sister and boyfriend, care about her and are worried about her, so they go to the hotel, or the motel. Excuse me.
Cycle.
That's nearly unforgivable. It's a motel.
Didn't
put me in the fruit cellar, Norman?
Right? Didn't Ian Fleming describe the way he writes James Bond was that he would put James Bond into a situation and then let him figure it out on the page?
Yeah.
Because he just knew James Bond so well that he knew what he would do given any circumstances, and that's what drove the plot. Yeah.
Yep.
Yeah. There's actually a great correspondence between Raymond Chandler, who wrote the Philip Marlowe stories, and Ian Fleming. They got to be quite friendly, and there's a great correspondence where Chandler's asking Fleming for tips on plot, and Fleming's asking Chandler for tips on character. And if you look at when it is, you can see the change in both their writing when it happens.
Oh,
because
interesting.
They're both getting a handle on all that stuff.
That's
All right.
cool.
Shaun, here's the first.
Oh, that's cool.
The first pass.
Sweet.
Nolan Prier.
Yeah. So what kind of visual tags do you think he would have? Like, because I love the stockier Jack Carson vibe, and sort of the smile. Like Jack just seems friendly. Like he's got that sort of slicked back hair. It seems like a big lovable bear. The kind of guy
Like a Brendan Fraser.
Kind of.
Yeah, that's actually a good one too. Because Brendan Fraser, especially in like The Mummy and stuff, he's not your typical movie leading man. He's
right.
Incredibly handsome, but kind of a dope.
Yep.
You guys know about the Brendan Fraser screen test for Superman, right?
No,
I've never seen it.
Yeah, I don't know if it happened or not, but the rumors were that one of the reasons he did Back in Action was because they said, if you do this for us, we'll put you in the next Superman movie. And supposedly just a screen test on the lot, and everyone said it looked just like a Fleischer cartoon come to life. So we kept trying to chase that. We kept trying to chase that footage down.
Oh.
Wow.
Mr. McLaughlin, this really is none of your business. I'm doing Justice League. What are you talking about? Of course, it's my business.
So why did he not get it just didn't happen?
I think that was when it was
all
called
the negative
Fly
stuff
Away.
Was going on. All that.
And
that was like the J.J. Abrams script, I think.
Was it, or was it Ratner's?
Well, Fly Away was J.J. Abrams' script, I think, but I think the Ratner version was going along and then was superseded by Singer, I think, because I want to say I remember hearing about or reading about that Anthony Hopkins had said yes to playing Jor-El.
Yeah.
After Red Dragon or something like that, and then
The Ratner thing was greenlit, and Ratner refused to cut the Krypton sequences, which was going to add an extraordinary amount to the budget, and so it got killed.
Good.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yes. As Brett Ratner should have been.
Yeah. Yes.
As we're finding out. So what else, guys? what else are we working on? Jeff, I love that. I love that for first
Okay,
take.
cool. Yeah, no, it's a fun.
Are you happy with it?
I do. I like that. I like that he's not that he looks like a regular guy. I like the idea of your leading man being relatable,
Yeah.
When I saw on Rogues, the original idea for him was for excuse me, for Rondo was David Bowie. And I really like David Bowie because he's a bard and he plays, and I loved David Bowie. I mean, his face was so interesting. And then in the end, I wound up, just for convenience sake, using a lot of my own face when I'm taking reference shots, for the character doing stuff, mixing my face with some of David Bowie's, some of the tags of David Bowie, like his sharper cheekbones and his, sort of his eye structure a little bit. But then Rondo now is his own. Now he looks different than both of us. I think because he took on his own personality, which happens after a while, which is always fascinating. You were talking about that. Your characters do that sometimes. Like they'll start to talk to you, and then
yeah. They don't talk to me since I've got medication for that now.
Oh,
so no. I don't hear the voices anymore.
Boo.
Then are you lonely all the time? That's my voice is never.
Give it another week. Give it another week. It's kind of like a vacation right now. We'll see how it works out. No, but I hear them. I hear the conversation. I kind of start things and then they start writing their own stuff. So it makes my job easier.
Right. Yeah.
Then do you say the dialogue out loud?
Oh, no.
You don't do that?
No, I trust my ear on that.
Okay.
You don't wander around the house saying your own words back to yourself?
Well, I don't know if you guys run into this, but I work at home, and my partner Megan works at home too, and she's actually her office is just down the hall from mine, and I was unaware that I do talk a lot while I'm working. She said I had to get used to the first month you were living with me. I had to get used to hearing "God damn it," and not worrying what's wrong.
Yeah, I mean that's what I remember working with you is the screams.
Sure. Meanwhile, in my cubicle, there's gentle sobbing.
I blew up big time 3 times there.
No, I meant the screams of delight.
Oh. Yeah.
You weren't there for the Sam Elliott fight?
No, I missed that one.
Oh, Sam Elliott was interested in playing vigilante in Justice League, or we were able to get him. Whether he was interested or not, I don't know. And Bruce wanted Nathan Fillion, and I just lost it because like you get Sam Elliott to play a cowboy superhero. Why is there even any thought of anyone else?
Right. That seems like a no-brainer.
Yeah. When I was in Bruce's office with the door closed, and when I came out, Andy, our secretary, looked at me and said, "I don't know how loud you were, but the door was doing this the whole time."
Oh wow. Well, that's that giant key eye from all your martial arts training.
There it is.
So Scott, what about you? What do you feel about using reference, and have you done it? And don't get yourself in any legal trouble.
Right.
No. I have done it, but it's always been under that thing of like it's a starting place. It's never the finish of whatever character I'm working on. And I've especially done it honestly when I'm looking for more authenticity, when I'm doing minorities or a bunch of various different characters that I may not have as much experience with or something like that. When I started on Flash, his wife was Korean. And so I went through and I went looking for various actresses or stuff like that that had Korean descent or something like that, so I could get that kind of feel and hopefully translate that in there. But not one of them in particular, became who Linda Park was. So yeah, I mean, I use it at times, and especially if I'm stuck starting off with the character, or if I'm trying to find that starting point with a writer, sometimes, especially if it's a new character or something like that, then I'll do that sort of thing. But other than that, it's then I'm using the reference for the normal things that artists are using reference for. Of am I drawing this so it looks like leather? Am I drawing this these muscles so I'm looking like this guy's completely steroided out or something like that? It's that kind of thing. Or am I getting the lighting right on this or face or that kind of thing? But never like an exact. Trying to think if, in fact, I know there at various times, Jeff and I both worked on some Star Wars jobs where we were supposed to use the likenesses on coloring books and stuff like that. And I
Right.
did okay, but honestly, I was not good at it at all. Even when I tried to make it look like Mark Hamill, Luke Skywalker, or something like that, or what's her name was Padme?
Natalie Portman.
Natalie
Yeah.
Portman.
I am
So
not the likeness kind of guy.
I did. I remember I did a Padme, and the note. It's still one of my all-time favorite notes. The editor of the project said that her nose needed to be more proud.
Yep.
I mean, it's so funny because I was trying to think of like the acting direction or equivalent, but my brain went to a whole bunch of other words. But even then, like I was like, all right, that was great, Shaun, but can you give it to us again, but more ethereal? But then I'm like, no, you could kind of act.
right.
You could
That's actually
you could
a better
act that. That's what I'm saying. Like you could.
I had a director once tell me you need to have more whimsy.
But I mean, like that's it. That is crazy, but at the same time, you could kind of act that. Like there's a vibe or feeling to that where you're like, all right, but I don't know how you.
Note.
I don't know how you draw more proud.
That's something you're drawing an upshot.
You're doing a Gil Kane shot.
Well, I'll be honest. I did it, and we finally got it through the editor. I don't know if I would have described the nose as more proud. I don't know, but it's interesting. One of the things that when I started doing character designs, I got into animation, and Jones and I used to talk about this all the time. Is like every character has a shape theory around it. Like, are they more triangular, square, circular? What do these inherent shapes say about the character?
Right.
And that's just fundamental character design. But I didn't, and I do that now in all my comic book designs, even though they're more realistic drawings. I still try and have, like, Peachy's hair is definitely circular, with a little bit of a crop on the bottom, where he's fluid until a point. And so for me, that's what that haircut means. And then Rondo's hair falls almost falls in front of his face, and so he's straight lines moving from beat to beat, right? So I don't know how much that stuff comes through to the reader or the viewer, but for me, knowing like these tags are representative of who this person is, who this character is.
Jeff, do you have a copy of the comic book?
I do. Hang on one second.
And we can maybe show them what you're talking about. I ran into a similar thing when I was working on various books where main characters or even supporting characters, I would pick shapes for their heads or their eyes or a specific kind of nose for them. And then I was trying really hard to make sure I drew that kind of nose or that kind of hairdo or whatever it was from the different angles, which is part of the trick of comic books.
Yeah. It also gets a good silhouette, so you can tell who the character is.
Right.
Yep.
Silhouettes are key. And then even as far as color coding, Peachy is in, when he is his wizard, he is in reds and Rondo is in blues. And I know that when I discovered.
Did someone mention silhouettes?
There you go.
There it is.
Yeah. Yeah, so there's actually a lot of just technical skill to designing a character, right? There's a lot of fun, there's a lot of basic drawing that you can do that you don't even have to be that good as an artist, as long as you know some of your fundamental tags and your keys and why you're doing something. I find that
Jeff and
that
I-
leads to a good design.
Jeff and I always like to joke around about how, the first time he was watching Frozen with his wife, that Anna marries that, there's she thinks she's found her handsome prince, the one that she sings the whole, and with you. I think I can get away with saying about that much.
Sure.
Can you give me a couple more bars, Steve?
Yeah, yeah.
I'm not quite sure I know.
I don't want to get us in. I don't want to get us into legal trouble. But
There's the point
where-
down the street. There's Mel's Diner.
I mean, my favorite, the clue besides character design, to me, the great clue in that one is just when she says, "Do you want to hear something crazy?" And he goes, "I love crazy."
Right.
Where you're just like, you're like, red flag.
Right, exactly.
But
No one
that's a character moment, right? That's just it just you nail it.
Well,
right
and
there.
and Jeff was saying, where it's like, and actually, it's to Jeff's credit because I think they do a really great job of not telegraphing that guy's a baddie in terms of his performance or his
Pretty
design.
good job.
There's only a few little things where his nose is a little extra sharp. There's a few little places where they went like, wait, he's not 1000% giving us Prince Charming vibes, but hey, it's just because we're in the modern era and you can't make everyone just look like princes from 1933, and so maybe he's going to be okay. And it's like, nope, they've hidden shapes in his design to make it so that he's not a goodie.
So
Right.
you don't notice it, but you subconsciously understand.
You pick
that
up
this
on
guy's
it. Well,
good.
so Megan says like, "Oh, well, you should see this movie. It's amazing." And then we're watching the first few minutes of it. I'm like, "Oh, is this guy the bad guy? Does he turn on her?" She's like, "How would you know that?" Well, look, you can see it in his nose. Look how close his eyes are. There's something that's not quite right about this guy.
Right. But you can't have the character looking like Jafar from
Right. It was
Aladdin,
subtle.
and then going like, why is Anna a complete idiot? Like this character is clearly designed as if you give Jafar the nice prince's voice from Frozen, you're still everyone will be like, all right, this character is the biggest idiot in the world because this character is clearly designed as a villain.
Right. And that's one of the reasons why Shrek works as well as it does too, because
He's a great design. Yeah. Lots of gentle circles,
Amazing.
Lots of soft lines. Yeah. Yeah. Well, I mean, that's one of the things that really good character design just shows up. Like the entire premise, I think, in one drawing. Like that's that guy. Okay, I like that guy.
Mm-hmm.
I'll spend $20 on that guy.
So we're closing in on end times here, fellas.
The end times.
Well,
I mean,
I'm
more
talking
ways than
I love
one.
you guys.
Literally, yeah. Oh, cool. I love the nose. It's very
just
proud.
a little bit. Yeah, it is very proud.
But it has whimsy as well.
It does. It's a whimsical kind of pride.
Yeah. No, I like it. I like it because it's flat and close to his face, so it kind of looks like a guy who's been through some stuff.
Yeah, he's been punched in the face a couple times.
Yeah. Mine didn't start off this shape. I can tell you that.
I know, right? I'm lucky. I've been hit in the head a lot.
Look, I'm sorry, Sean. I'm sorry, okay? But when you said I had to come in on a Saturday.
Right.
No, it was a 5'2" woman in my Hungar class. And I've never gotten beat up so bad because she could just get inside. Like,
right.
She just took a step and like, where'd she go? Oh,
right in the kisser. Yeah. Hungar is a fun style.
Yeah, it was good. It was a great starting place for me.
Yeah.
All right. So I did my trope, my weekly trope. No more Navy SEALs and scripts, please. Let's stop with that.
That's a good one.
Yep. Who's got their weekly little?
I'm going to just reach over to my desk because I've been loving these lately. It's the Mobius Jean Girard, like his old school blueberry.
Yeah.
I mean, like look at that. That's just can you see it? Just a background of the desert. It's insane.
Lovely.
Yeah, this work This work is incredible, and it's one of those books where every panel is a gold mine of everything we've been talking about. His design is amazing, and it's not cartooned at all, but it is 100% a cartoon.
Yeah,
Yep.
look at the panel layout too. The panel
Yeah.
layout is there's nothing like really fancy. It's pretty. What are they six? They're grids.
Sometimes.
You know, they're
Yeah.
fairly simple
Yeah.
grids.
Yeah,
And
they're
it just tells
tabloid
the
size, but
story.
yeah, that's just grids of stuff.
And there's so much story. So I mean, I discovered Mobius when I was a kid in heavy metal, and I didn't find the blueberry stuff until much later. So it was earlier.
Oh, yeah.
And
Yeah.
it's, if I could draw like one guy, I think it might be it would definitely be Mobius.
Jean Girard.
Yeah. All right, that's
Scott?
fine, Scott.
I guess we're basics and we're talking about character design stuff. So then it's a matter of, if you've been watching me work on these, there was like, there's a triangle shape of working on Catwoman, or you immediately get the cowl shape of Doctor Doom. Obviously, Batman works with his ears. As soon as you put any head shape on there, but you put the ears on top, Batman sticks
Yeah.
out.
Yeah.
The same thing for the Thing, the roundness, and then the rocks. But all of these guys are in their basic form. They have their own immediate motif that comes through, that immediately differentiates them from the other guy. And I've had these discussions with all sorts of other artists of our generation. I've had these discussions with guys like John Romita and stuff. That has always been part of the idea. Same as with you guys, the animation is, Daredevil moves differently than Spider-Man. This character moves differently. There has to be those things. There have to be the design parts about how they're drawn and how their physicality is. The sweeping details of inside the costumes, or the sweeping details outside the costumes, the shapes and stuff. But that's all part of the basics as well of working in comic books, is the design of stuff. So you pick the shapes, you pick the stuff that works for them and identifies them as someone different than the 1,000 other characters running around the same comic books.
Darkseid, I always thought was a really interesting silhouette, because he kind of works best in 3/4, and then that big sort of like metal jaw thing really sticks out. I mean, I remember Great Darkness Saga with the Darkseid planet reveal, and it was just tremendous use of just the shape of the character, not really details.
Absolutely.
Steve, you have a tip for the kids?
Well, I'm just going to go more along what I'll think about my tip for the kids next week, but I will think about what Jeff just said. I'll do another. Go to StephenBJonesCartoonist.com, kids, and if you want my contact info, and if you want to buy a little sketch booklet that I've created of my artwork, you can go to
I love that.
Stephen B. Jones.
That Jetsons is great.
Yeah, that was for Tony Cervoni. I was doing development for him on something before he went off and started going to work on Scoob, and he's like, what would the Jetsons look like if they were designed in the early '60s by Disney instead of by Hanna-Barbera? So that was fun, but it came to nothing, sadly, because he went off to work on something else. Anyway, check out my stuff. Go to my website, and in terms of what's around here of mine that I have that's inspiring, I will start with the storyboard book from Studio Ghibli of Lupin the Third and the Castle of Cagliostro.
Oh, that's such a classic.
I mean, it's Miyazaki's first feature, I believe, I mean, all Miyazaki's brilliant, but I kind of think from '79, from this movie to Porco Rosso are my favorites. Like, everything after Porco Rosso is certainly brilliant, but all of my favorites are, it starts here, and it's the '80s and '90s stuff, Nausicaa and everything. But I just think this one's so fantastic. And I just started watching the 1971 Lupin the Third cartoon, so I'm really getting into '70s anime right now, I think, because we grew up with it, getting exposed to Speed Racer and Battle of the Planets, / Gotchaman and Star Blazers, but that was but we only got those, you know, or Miyazaki Sherlock Hound I've been watching, so I've been really getting into like older anime and going, I don't know, maybe I think there's something too, like as we get older and it becomes impossible to try to keep up with like what are the cool kids doing right now, I think all you can do is just kind of keep going back to what has proven to be timeless, I think, and whatever is brilliant and is timeless will always be. And so that's where I sort of am trying to, I mean, I think it's important to try to see like what are the new kids doing, but at the same time, I think for me, the only inspiration is like, okay, what are we still talking about 30, 50, 60, 70 years later, you know?
And you don't want to get caught in the trap of doing the same things exactly that they're doing, because then you'll be just forgotten or mixed in with the rest of them. You got to stand out.
Yep. And this might be a good conversation for next week, but none of us were following the stuff the cool kids were doing. We were all on our own paths.
Right.
So, you know, following them is, you know, I see way too many people trying to imitate Quentin Tarantino in screenplays. I see way too many people in comics trying to be Todd McFarlane. And, you know, that was one of the things I asked about the silhouette thing, because, you know, now to me, it seems like a lot of the young artists are just obsessed with how many lines I can put in a drawing. And it's not telling the story. It's not helping anything, because it's just, that's what they're following. But yeah.
I do enjoy a line, but yes.
Yeah.
A line of what, Jones?
All right.
We were all around in the 80s. All right. Thank you.
All right, guys, that was great.
We'll be back next week.
All right.
All right. As a lot of grown men say to each other, toodaloo.
Toodaloo.